Welcome everybody. Back with a another episode of Manager in the Mirror. We got Mr. Griffin here joining me and Ryan today.
Yep, very excited to be here. Um, a lot of excitement going on in the past week or so around our league. Very excited to talk some dynasty fantasy football
Yeah, excited to have you. Feels like the league's buzzing right now.
for sure, for sure.
There you
Thanks for
go.
calling me on.
All right, well, we can hop right into it then. We'll start with a recap of Tom's year. In 2022, Tom went 4-11 before drafting Addison at 106 and Sam Laporta at 203. So pretty solid draft class for him. Two seaman hits there. And then he gave up in season Jonathan Taylor to get Gabe Davis, Josh Downs, and Rob's 25 first. And then he gave up Chris Olave and his 25 third for a package of JSN, JMO, and Ryan's second this year. He ended up going 8-7, eighth in the league in points for before taking a fat L in the toilet bowl.
Tom
Did I
got
lose the toilet bowl? Damn it. I did not know that.
Yeah, you're a toilet bowl stinker.
Oh God. 8-7 though. There was a moment there where it seemed like I might be making the playoffs. And I considered like making a silly move and pushing the chips in just for the fun of it. And then I decided to make that Jonathan Taylor trade. So
You're happy you didn't?
I'm very happy I didn't. I think it would have been idiotic. I never really considered it, but yeah. I think I'm in a good place now.
Real quick before we jump into the meat and potatoes, I forgot that this is either the second or third episode in a row that I've dressed for the guest. So this is my Tom episode shirt, double doink.
Lovely.
Tom and I went to the double doink for those who don't know.
We saw the bean.
They, there's nothing on the back, but just to boost views.
Giving the fans what they want.
Yeah. All right. So Tom, like everyone else, we have questions for you.
Yes.
I'm just gonna jump right into them. You're our first guest since the Superflex draft. You traded up for Joe Burrow and drafted Jordan Love. How much of that was in the cards going in?
Um, none. Jordan Love was certainly a part of the plan. I was eyeing him for that 10 pick. I had the 10-11. I was looking at like Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, um, then some guys I wasn't too thrilled about, like Brock Purdy. Not that I don't like Brock Purdy, I think I would have been less excited about him. Then I think he was after more mile picks. Anthony Richardson at 7, is that correct? Were
Yes.
you six,
Yep.
Ryan? Okay, yeah. Mormile took Richardson, and Burrow was still on the board at pick 8. And I had been having conversations with Rob, and Rob was really set on Kyler Murray. And I can't tell you why. I wasn't high. Kyler was not, he was not in my rankings. He was someone I was looking to avoid. And the opportunity kind of just formed right there. It was like, I think I could probably just Rob doesn't want Burrow. I do. I'm at the 10. Rob can get Kyler at the 10. Rob ended up trading to the 9 to get Kyler. I don't know why. I think Jesse was extorting him, but ended up just having to give up a third rounder. I think it was a slam dunk, lock in Burrow, um, and then was able to get Love after Kyler and Lawrence came off the board. I was going to be pretty happy with Love or Lawrence. I think Love is a bit more of an upside, a higher upside play in terms of fantasy value. So I was thrilled with the draft, thrilled with the process. I thought it went a lot smoother than I had anticipated. So huge shout out to Ryan, Nico, Dan, everyone involved, pushing that one through, especially Nico though.
Yeah.
Putting a
I
lot.
thought you were only gonna shout out Nico there, so I started snapping and then you said me, and now I just look, self-absorbed.
Yep. I guess as people are listening to this, our Superflex episode is probably out already. So we don't need to go too much into it, but safe to say if I was sitting there with Burrow on the board 2 picks ahead of me, I would have sold my house to go get him. So I think that was a home run for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
third
gotta
round.
be honest. I was having talks with Rob for the same pick, but I was offering my second, and that's a much bigger fall, which is I think why he went with yours because he really
Yeah,
did Tyler. Um, but to be totally honest with you, if he had gone with me for some reason instead of you, I think I still would have gone Love over Burrow.
really.
I had Love so high up the board, and I mean this is partially due to just working in orthopedics now, thinking I know everything, reading way too much into stuff. I like read some stuff about Burrow's injury and the hand motion and shit, and I
Yeah.
I loved Love and Burrow. I was a little scared of. So yeah,
Damn. So had you traded up, Jesse probably gets Burrow at the 9.
yeah,
Wow.
didn't happen though. So our next question. You were the team to fear back in 2021, but I think you would concur that a lot of guys just out of nowhere, production and value wise, kind of fell off a cliff. You had Michael Thomas, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, CEH, even Hunter Renfrow, Madison, Taylor took a step back. Um, I was just wondering what it was like navigating that kind of collapse in expectations, and if there was like a central strategy. Did you immediately plan to start this rebuild, or were you going to wait them out, just try and see if their value bounced back? I was just wondering what your thought process was during all that.
Yeah. You know, 2021 was a tough year. We me and the guys, we were brilliant. We were almost perfection. It was a 14-1 season. We made it to the finals before taking an absolute crushing loss to Team Wittenborn. So we got in the office post that, and we were like, I mean, we were flying high still. Like
You
we
got
were
to
like,
run
this
it
is the
back.
top team. Yeah, well, let's run it back. But it was really no doubter. We had Taylor, we had Thomas, like we had CEH who like was only gonna go up from there, right? Um, that next year came around. We had Tyreek, we had Kelsey. The team was stacked.
Team was
Um,
stacked.
I would say it was built on running backs. We had Taylor, we had Dalvin, Clyde, and just the variability at the running back position is never something I will want to be super invested in after this scenario. So that season came, I think that was my 4-11 year. I think we got off to a rough start, and pretty soon into that, I started selling some of the older guys like Kelsey. I traded for a first. Tyreek, I think I got a first and some change. Um, and that was kind of what. Oh, Dalvin. Dalvin, I packaged for Dalvin and Kelsey. I was just looking at this for Olave and a first. So that was probably like the move that got this team back on track. And now we're entering 2024 season with high hopes. We have wide receivers, 3 talented young wide receivers, good draft capital, 4 first rounders in the next 2 years, and 2 young quarterbacks that I believe are the future of this franchise.
Yeah. Okay. Dan.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about that draft capital a little bit, and it's not just 2 firsts this year, it's 2 prime firsts this year at picks 4 and 5. So up until that point, I believe you hadn't spent a first. You hadn't used a top 15 pick since 2020 when you took Jonathan Taylor and Jalen Rager.
Wow.
Um, Obviously, we talked a little bit about
And
the
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
the same
yeah,
All
draft.
right.
three.
You had a couple high value picks that year too.
Yeah.
So obviously we talked a little bit about how your mindset's changing, but yeah, is it safe to say it's on the youth revolution?
We're on a bit of a youth kick. I'm absolutely stoked about this draft class. I've got I don't know if you're gonna ask about this, but I've got a few guys I'm eyeing with the 4 and the 5. We'll see what direction more mile goes. That'll probably have some big sway. And then I am fielding offers. I've gotten a few offers for the 5th pick. One came in this afternoon, and so I'm constantly in contact. So feel free to hit my line. um, might take a couple business days for me to get back to you. That's just we're busy here. We're constantly fielding calls, so
I'm just curious the fab total that it would take to switch 5 and 6.
um I would say probably north of $6.
Okay. Well, I'll have my people hit up your people. We'll see. That's a little steep for me, but if we instituted like a half fab
Yeah.
type thing, Mr. Commissioner, maybe we could get something done.
Well, we'll have to look into it. We'll see what wires we can pull. But so we talked about it. I think all three of us agree that the arrow's trending up right now.
Yeah.
You've got two QBs, a rock solid receiving core. You've got Laporta, and you're gonna add. I mean, right now, presumably it would be Jaden Daniels and Neighbors. So another elite high ceiling QB and a receiver who can really be like a franchise guy. What's your projected turnaround time for Team Griffin? When do you see yourself pushing for rings again?
Yeah. That's a great question, Dan. It's all gonna come down to how hard we work this offseason. We've got guys who are you're right, they're trending upward, but they're not there yet. And I'm specifically speaking to Jackson Smith and Jigba. Jordan Addison loved his rookie year. I liked it a lot more than Jackson's. I think Jackson's got a lot more to prove to me. But I need to see top 15 production from at least two of my wide receivers before I'm gonna be like, okay, let's make a turnaround. If we haven't talked about my running backs. Like there's a reason for that. There's nobody
They're
there.
really bad.
They're terrible. Worst in the league. It's bad.
Not
It's
really the year to fix that either. No matter
Yeah,
how
it's
many
not definitely not in the draft, and I wouldn't plan on it either. I have shifted gears. I have seen the light. I'm building on young wide receivers, young tight ends, young quarterbacks, and then when I feel like I'm in a position to compete, that's when I'll make my trade for some older but good running backs. And hopefully the capital won't be as much as like how much I had to give up for like a Jonathan Taylor. Um, that's the new strategy. If you want me to give you a timeline, I'm gonna say not this year. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have make 4 first round picks. And then that year, that's my year.
Okay.
After my 4 first round picks, then I'm gonna be in a position where I'm gonna be back in contention and I'm gonna have all just my current picks. I won't have extra picks that I could maybe swindle for like an older RB, and I'm golden, and then
Like
I'm
a
back.
35-year-old Raheem Mostert or something like that.
It could be 35-year-old Raheem Mostert if he's putting up 20 touchdowns a year.
I like it.
Yeah, that's the new Tom.
I like the plan and I agree with the plan. Um, so as far as this year goes, what would you have to see out of this team for it to be considered a success?
That's a great question. I am excited to own my first and Rob's first next year. So for me, success will not be determined by the wins and losses. It will actually be determined by the growth of my wide receiver core and specifically hitting on these two picks. I think these two picks, the three wide receivers I mentioned, and Jordan Love are probably the keys to me having a successful year in terms of my dynasty outlook. I think that's that's the that's the big those are the big chunks.
Gotcha.
And
I agree.
then
I think you're a year out from top two or three receiving core in the league. You already are might be pushing one of the top two or three receiving cores in the league.
I appreciate that. I don't think I'm there just yet. I don't.
Factoring in a certain rookie who I've
Yeah,
repeatedly said I believe in big time and
I do too.
will take.
I would be really excited to get him. I'm not gonna rule out Patrick taking him. I do think if Patrick takes him, I would probably go May and Daniels and just like have four quarterbacks that are very talented and just hope three of them pan out. Um,
Sure.
but I would be thrilled to get Neighbors and a quarterback. I feel like that's better asset allocation, but we'll see. I'm not ruling anything out.
Yeah. Is there a face of the franchise right now that you like?
Ooh, my face of the franchise. That's tough. I think it's gotta be my RB1, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Edwards Helaire.
Yeah, the
Still
team
the
is named
team name.
after
Yeah.
him. Yeah. I don't think that'll change anytime soon. He is, the talent hasn't been there. The production hasn't been there. But if you get to know this kid, he's a great locker room guy.
Mm.
And when we lost in the finals those 2 years back, um, he rallied the troops and he led us to that 4-11 season the year after.
Would have been 1-13 without
It would have
14.
totally.
The new guy, Joe Shiesty, is home punching air right now.
I hope not. That
Getting
thumb's
jelly.
unstable from what I hear.
Yeah, no, I would be thrilled if Love could be the face of the franchise. Just then that means I've got two absolute stud quarterbacks. Um, but I do think Malik Neighbors has that potential, or even a Jaden Daniels. Or
Gotcha.
Drake May. I personally think Pat's gonna go Jaden Daniels. And I would be thrilled with Daniels or May. I don't really know how to evaluate quarterbacks, so I'm gonna take who's ever there for me.
Fair enough. And then just rounding us out, I'm curious, who do you think is winning this year? And who do you think is going to be bringing up the rear?
That's that's tough. I'll start with the rear. I think if Jesse does what he should do and blow his team up, which he has already begun to do, he will be in last place. And I would respect it. I would respect the hell out of it for him to go from first to worst, get his ring,
It
and
would
then
be the
flip.
third in league history.
That is incredible. You did
Rob,
it and Rob did it. Wow. Um, as for winner, um, I think there's a guy on Jesse's team that just might elevate one of these teams to be able to contend with Daniel Marks, who is my current pick as a champion. But I will say Nico Ellis, he's my dark horse. If he picks up Christian McCaffrey, I mean, I think there's a few teams. I think Ryan, I think you've got a shot if you pick up McCaffrey. But since McCaffrey is still under Jesse Mears ownership, I will say Dan Marks. And I think even with someone adding McCaffrey, I still think Dan Marks is the favorite. Because that is a well-oiled machine, and adding Dak Prescott just makes it that much better.
I tried
And
to trade up for that pick too. I like Dak.
I think people are sleeping on Travis Kelce. I think a tight end needy team like Brennan, who's got Goddard. I think he could benefit from a Kelsey. The fire sale going on at the Mir household, people should take advantage.
He already traded Kelsey
Mir?
to Zach at the end of the year. Or, oh no, that was the other way. You're so right.
Yeah. Yep. Jesse has Kelsey. He's got Andrews. He's got um McCaffrey still. Debo. He's got assets.
Just to clarify, you were talking about one player that could really turn the tides. You meant McCaffrey, because I was under the impression it was Justin Shorter, um, former Florida Gator, current
Yeah.
heir to the Stephon Diggs target share when he gets angry and leaves.
Is Justin Shorter on Jesse's team?
Or wasn't he like the kicker in that trade, the Kelsey trade?
I think
I
so.
think he
Yeah.
went from Jesse to Zach, no?
No, that was Wicks.
No, that
Tavian
was
Wicks.
Wicks, and I think
Wicks.
the
That was
trade
Wicks.
went through, and Jesse was like, "Oh, like Justin Shorter season, whatever." All right, well, Zoom's cutting us off in a sec here. So, any parting words, Tom?
I got a few for you. And these go to Dan Marks. I'm coming.
Oh.
May not be this
Oh.
year, but I'm coming.
A call out to this year's fourth place finishing team.
Looking over my shoulder. I see you back there. I see you down there.
How many of the people on that wall are still Bills after yesterday and today?
Well, I was gonna save this for the Superflex draft. I might still pop it up, but this picture just sums up my week really. I was so scared I was gonna lose Josh. Getting Josh back was the only thing I needed out of the Superflex draft, and had to give a little memorial to Trey. A true Bill, the first pick of the Brandon Bean, Sean McDermott era, an absolute home run, a locker room guy, one of the best goalies on planet Earth. R.I.P. to Trey White. I wish him the best in what's to come.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got nothing to say, and we got another episode to record. So, thanks for watching, everybody.
See you.